And I thought your point was valid that, hey, the Lions are kind of roughly where we thought, especially because they're, again, like last year, dealing with a whole host of injuries.
Yeah, and I think, like I said in the article, like I kind of say all the time, when you look at statistically scoring differential, yards per play, those kind of metrics, DVOA, like when you're measuring team strength beyond who scores the most points when the clock hits zero, right? You can tell that sometimes teams are outplaying their record or underplaying their record. And at the end of the year, last year, Lions were 15-2, and I think everybody recognized that maybe they won a couple of games they didn't have any business winning, especially when they were managing to just kind of barely hold things together on defense there at the end. A lot of injuries. It's to their credit, obviously, right? It's to the coaching staff's credit, the players' credit. They were able to kind of next man up their way through all the way, get that number one seed. And I think, as Dan Campbell pointed out, maybe they made getting the number one seed too big a goal, because then they got a week off and they felt like they accomplished what they wanted to accomplish, right? So I think a lot of people had the idea to come back and go, okay, you overplayed your scoring margin by 2 whole expected wins. Generally speaking, historically speaking, that means you're more likely to underperform, right? Also have what looked like a meat grinder of a schedule has proven to be a meat grinder of a schedule. And so now you're sitting there at 6-4. Well, Vegas hit the over-under at 10.5. Most statistical models had the Lions somewhere between 10 and 11 wins this year. I think a lot of people understood the Lions could be just as good as they were last year, or even a little bit better, or just a little bit worse, and still only win 9, 10, 11 games. But also, the schedule is a meat grinder because the NFC North got handed a meat grinder of a schedule, and they all got to play each other, and 10, 11 wins might be enough. And here we are sitting at 6-4. You look at the stretch run. Okay, you got a 3-game homestand. Packers in the middle there. Giants and Cowboys. You go 2-1 or 3-0 in that stretch, and you get a shot at the Rams to try and maybe get back in the driver's seat for the number one seed. And then you got a couple division opponents to wrap up with the Steelers there at home. So you go, this is very doable. The Lions are in very good position. They're top 5 offense pretty much across the board, top 10 and climbing defense pretty much across the board, right? There are 25 teams, 30 teams, not quite 30, 25, 26 teams that would trade places with the Lions in a heartbeat. And yeah, okay, you go to NFL.com/playoff picture or whatever, and the Lions are out of it right at this instant. But this may well be as grim as the picture gets.